Buff Nation, what's going on? BWB, all of my bandwagon buffs, what's up? I hope you are having a wonderful day. Your week, you know what I'm saying, started on Monday. A lot of y'all probably don't know that it is Tuesday because you had that day off. Welcome to TLP Sports Club. You are now watching TLP Live. I am your host, Harry Billion. I go by Harry B. The B means billion. Let me just let you know, no, you do not live under a rock, okay? You just don't have the same interests that a lot of us do. The National College Football Championship game was played, all right? It was an oblong ball made of pigskin. It was played by Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, okay? And the Ohio State Buckeyes, okay? LeBron James is from Ohio, and he reps the Ohio State Buckeyes. And then other people reps Notre Dame as well. That game was played on Monday night, 7:30 Eastern, okay? Well, maybe 7:40 something Eastern. And Notre Dame took an L to the Ohio State Buckeyes. That concluded the college football season, which starts in the year that we're in, but then it always ends the next year, okay? So, on today's show, I want to talk about the reset. Who's going to be there next year? Does Colorado stand a chance? I don't think so, but we got to talk about it anyway. Is it fair? What's going on? And you'll find out what I mean by is it fair. You got to stay tuned for that. Is it fair? Okay. So let's go ahead and start the show. The show works like this. It's a call-in show. You can definitely call in right there on your screen, at the top of your screen, left-hand side. I understand that a lot of y'all are listening through audio only, so you may not be able to call in. But if you are watching and you want to call in, join tlplive@gmail.com. It is the email that you will email me, and you can actually join the show. You can join the panel. You don't have to get stuck in the chat, calling the panel members' names and saying that we don't know anything. Come on here and share your knowledge with us. Join tlplive@gmail.com. So when you hear somebody come on the panel, that's how they do it. They email me, I send them the link. I don't just drop the link in the chat because then, a lot of silly things are going on. People won't be doing silly things. So I don't do that. Okay. So to call into the show, you're going to go ahead and just email me, join tlplive@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. Let me just start off by telling you what I think. Or let me give you a recap of the national championship game in my form and what I think worked for certain teams and what did not work for certain teams. And then if I have anybody come onto the show, they can give me their ideas. And then, of course, obviously, this is a Colorado Central channel. So I'll give you some Colorado news, what's going on around Colorado. And hopefully we can have a great show and end there, okay? I want to say hello to Tim, my guy. Dallas is in the building. Tim Smith, what it do, what it is. Hope all is well with you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So now the first thing let me just hit on the first thing. The AP, the final AP poll is in. And for some of y'all have seen it already, some haven't. Let me see if I did this the right way. Should be on my screen. Okay, I didn't do it the right way. Let's hide that. I'm supposed to put it in the corner. But yeah, I'll put it up and then I'll scoot over. All right, so the final AP poll. Let's turn the camera this way a little bit. All right, so that's the final AP poll right there. Colorado is at number 25. Obviously, Ohio State won it. So you will have Ohio State, Notre Dame, number 2. Oregon being number 3. Now, again, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not a fan of Oregon. To tell you the truth, I am definitely not a fan of Oregon. I feel like they are a fraud. Okay, I definitely feel like Oregon is a fraud, and them being at number 2 is kind of weird. I mean, at number 3 is kind of weird because I just don't believe in them. That's just how I feel. But I do believe that they are a fraud. Now, other teams that I believe deserve where they are. It's interesting at number 9, right? That's is that Ashton Genty's team at number 9 there? Actually, number 8, not number 9. Not Tennessee, but number 8. That's pretty high. And then obviously you got the Sun Devils coming in at number 7. Quite interesting. This is how it ends. Now coming in, the AP poll has Texas. A lot of guys or a lot of pundits are ranking Texas at number 1 right now on a lot of the different polls that I'm seeing. I don't know if that's how AP is going to have it, but I think the reason why they're ranking they're putting Texas at number 1. I think it mostly has to do with the fact that Arch Manning is going to be taking over at Texas. And finally, let me go back. Took a little bit of time there. I think it's because Arch Manning is going to be taking over at Texas, and they believe, or they're going to do everything they can do in their power to promote college football through Arch Manning, and that's what they always do. Okay, let me put my camera back the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, so just get ready for Arch Manning to be the face of college football, just like Travis Hunter. I would say Travis and Shedeur, they were kind of like the face of college football. If you don't believe me, just go look around, right? The college football game that came out, Travis was on it. Shedeur, they were everywhere. I believe that this is going to be the Arch Manning era. Now, he's good, but do y'all believe that he's going to be like good enough to where he's going to take Texas all the way? I'm not sure. I like the kid. That's my guy. All right. I love the Mannings. You know what I'm saying? But is he going to be the face of college football? Have no idea. Anyway, that's the AP poll. That's how it ended. So let's go ahead and let me give you my little analysis of the game. And I want to parallel this to Colorado for some odd reason, because I don't understand Colorado football and what I saw in the final game. All right. And it's basically going to, let me just get it out the way, running the ball. Running the ball. The very first touchdown that was scored was running the ball. And I believe the last touchdown that was scored was running the ball, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how it pretty much ended. We started with running the ball. All right. You got Michigan. Did I say Michigan? You pretty much have Notre Dame running the ball. The quarterback, I don't know if they obviously had two running backs that were capable of running the ball, but the quarterback sneak was working for them, and that's what they used to score their first touchdown. Why am I talking about running the ball? Colorado never ran the ball in 2024. Okay? Like, and I said never ran. It's like that the game plan was not to run the ball. So Colorado decided, hey, what works for us is to pass the ball. So I'm going to ask you who are out there in the digital world. We understand the identity of Colorado, and there are other teams that are very pass heavy. They're air raid teams. I haven't done the homework. I haven't done the work yet, but I want to ask, how successful is a pass raid, right? It's an air raid team versus a run team? Anybody who is a football historian, how successful is an air raid versus a team that runs the ball heavy? I want to know because I'm still baffled at if you look at Colorado's run rate, right? If you look at the average runs that they have for the entire season, forget about a game, for the entire season, you can conclude that they refuse to run the ball. I know that passing the ball, there are systems or programs that are just air raid, and they're fun to watch. But in my time watching football, I have not seen a team that predominantly airs out the ball and have went that far. I mean, like all the way. Not too many. I haven't seen too many yet. So my question is, how successful could that be? And the reason why I'm asking you this question is, what has Colorado done in the off season to assure the fan base that, oh, we're planning to run the ball this time? Because obviously they're going to tell you, oh, we're going to run, right? Whether it's Well-Off telling you, or is Coach Prime in a conference, a press conference telling you, Shedeur saying we got to run more. Somebody's going to say we want to run the ball. But how confident are you guys, Colorado fans, how confident are you that Colorado is actually going to run the ball and you believe them? Okay, so what is the information that links that to? Marshall Faulk. He has no coaching experience. But Coach Prime is tapping him to come in to coach the running backs. Now, Coach Flea, I believe he has some medical issues or medical situations, and he's no longer with Colorado. Now, I don't know if we can link Marshall Faulk having no experience to Coach Prime not having college football experience. Because I don't know if Marshall Faulk was like a Coach Prime that coached Pee Wee in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Marshall Faulk has been what he's been doing in his time away from football. I have no idea besides being an analyst. Because I don't know that most people actually knew if you didn't follow Coach Prime at Trinity at the high school. I don't know if you followed him when he was coaching his sons, I mean, at a low pub level. None of us knew. I think I caught him at the high school level. So does bringing in or tapping somebody without experience, does it give you confidence because he was a good running back? Does it give you confidence that he's going to be the best coach? Maybe it could. Maybe that could be a good hire. That could, because if you've done it at the highest level and you have a gold jacket, then that means that you are the best of the best of the best. You're the creme de la creme. And whether you're teaching your own kids to do it or you're teaching other kids to do it, you can practically coach it. Right? If I'm a filmmaker, if my son if he came and asked me, hey, Pops or Dad, how do I do X, Y, and Z? I'll be able to explain on how do we get started from concept all the way from the thing that you think about, the idea, all the way to editing and putting everything out, marketing and everything that you need to do. I should be able to walk you through that. But the question would become, how successful would my son be? Would it be based on the information that I share with my son? Because I never made it into Hollywood as a director, even though I did work in Hollywood. Would he be successful? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a question. So now, if you're bringing in a coach like Marshall Faulk that's never coached before, how successful is he going to be? That's the question. It's a fair question that people probably don't want you to ask. Knowing Colorado fans, how can you question a gold jacket? That's the thing. How Colorado fans, some of them are so delusional. I promise you. Oh my goodness. They're gonna say, "Hey, how can you question a gold jacket?" So I ask you this question: would it be better for Coach Prime to find a successful running backs coach that have been coaching college a few years, or would it be better for him to bring in the gold jacket who has done it before? I want to hear what you think. Let me open up the chat. Make sure I'm seeing what you're typing. What you say, Mr. James? Did I do research on the cold running back coach, like the assistant? Yeah, but I'm not talking about the assistant right now. I think I put up I'll put up something about the assistant. I ain't talking about the assistant. You don't hire a coach and then lean on the assistant. You know what I'm saying? Like you first want to go through the coach. You first want to evaluate the coach. Okay, this is the guy that's going to be making the most decisions, not the assistant. Yes, we have assistants around us, so it's like, okay, Coach Prime is the head coach. The buck stops with him, or the bull stops with him, or Bison, whatever. If the head coach don't matter, we just got to lean on the assistants. Then I guess where you at. And plus, I did not say that you were delusional. I said some. All right. So if that hat fits and you wearing it like I'm wearing my hat, then okay, then maybe you're delusional. The assistant is really the head and will help folk get experience to move on. See, that's the thing. That's Mr. James. That's what I'm talking about. All right. You're again, if the hat fits, you can wear it. I never called you delusional. I didn't say all Colorado fans are delusional. I said that some Colorado fans are so delusional, they don't want you to ask any questions. Anybody and everybody that Coach Prime brings in is fair game. He knows best. Don't say nothing. Nobody cares because he's the best. That's not how fan base is. That ain't how it works. Okay. Unfortunately, that's just not how it works. And it's fair to ask questions because at the end of the day, that's what fans do. They ask questions. So, but you get attacked in the Colorado ecosystem when you ask questions. Here I am asking the question about the lead guy, and you're questioning me about questioning the lead guy to say, hey, don't look at the lead guy, Mr. James. Look at the assistant. You're literally proving my point here. If the assistant is the one with the experience, then why don't we make the assistant the head? Is that off base? Is that crazy to ask that if the assistant has more experience, but we're gonna trust somebody who has zero assistance with the head? I'm telling you, that's what Prime is doing. The assistant is the head. Falk is brought on for the name and to get experience. I'm not attacking you, I'm just giving you perspective. Wait a minute. I'm not understanding. I don't understand because I think what I heard or what the information that we all got, I think that information said he was the assistant. But you're saying that it's the other way around? Prime is bringing on the assistant. He's going to be an assistant, but he's the one with the more experience. And let's make Falk the head just for namesake. Why are we playing games? I'm not here to play no games. He's what do we? Why are we playing games? Tim, welcome to the show, brother. Why are we? Let me just jump you in. Why are we playing games? Why do we need to play games? This is college football. Why are we playing games? Why do we need a name?
I don't know. We don't necessarily need one, honestly.
We don't need no names. What the heck are we doing? Livingston was not a name. He made a name. He made his name.
Facts.
So why do we need a name? Why do we need for recruiting? No, we don't. We don't need him. What?
Nah.
Am I missing something?
You're talking about having Marshall Faulk name as
the lead quarter, the head of the quarterback's room. But then have the guy with experience as his assistant.
I mean, the assistant is the assistant. Marshall Faulk would be the head running backs coach. I mean, this guy, yes, he's a gold jacket wearer. Yes, he played in the pros. Yes, he won Super Bowls with the St. Louis Rams. Yes, he played Power 5 at the time. Yes, he understands defenses at all levels. He probably just has a desire to coach.
So make him the assistant.
Right.
What are we doing?
The assistant is just because he was the assistant running backs coach at Power 14, schools, LSU, etc. So that's all fine and dandy, but he may not understand the landscape of everything like Marshall Faulk may understand it.
No, I don't
just
understand.
Because
make me understand. When you said the landscape, we're talking about. Tell me what you mean by the landscape. What the heck is the landscape? If somebody's been in the position doing it for a couple of years at the college football, at the college level, then what in the world is the landscape?
What I mean by landscape is Marshall Faulk has seen it out. His vision versus the assistant coach vision.
Okay.
At all levels, then seen all kinds of schemes on defense, then seen it all from the high school level to the pro level. So he can identify a lot more than the assistant with the kids that have a desire to play at the NFL level.
That's a trap. That's another trap, bro. That's the same. We keep falling into this same old trap. I feel like it's another gold jacket trap. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like it's a gold jacket trap. Yes, he's done it, but there's a lot of coaches in college football, and I would ask the question: Is the Ohio State quarterback's coach a gold jacket coach?
No, but he's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest.
At coaching or at playing it? At playing the game?
Oh, coaching it, putting players in the NFL.
What about the Michigan's running? Well, I can't talk about not Michigan, but not
too.
So okay, so that's what I'm saying. I feel like I don't want to get caught up in the gold jacket trap, because you need to surround yourself with coaches who have experience coaching. The idea of somebody who's done it before is great. I don't mind the idea, but you also have another gold jacket, Coach Sapp, who's a grad assistant. I'm saying if you don't have experience, get somebody with experience, and if the gold jacket wants to coach, then have him around. Because coaching is a whole nother thing. I'm trying to tell you. Coaching is a whole nother beast.
Well, look at this. Look, look at this aspect, or think about this aspect. Rob Livingston came in. Did he have any defensive coordinator experience?
He didn't have no experience. He had
It,
experience coaching.
no, he had experience recruiting.
No. Coaching. He had experience coaching.
At Cincinnati?
We talking about college, or are you talking about just experience coaching? I'm saying he had experience coaching.
Yeah, Rob Livingston.
Yes, Rob Livingston had a coaching experience.
Okay. He went to the pros, right?
Right. He coached the secondary in the NFL. So that's coaching experience.
Okay. So, but when he came to Colorado, he made, like you stated earlier, he made a name for himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can say,
but keep in mind, I'm saying he had coaching experience. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
Like, he's coached. Coaching
Okay.
coaching is about connection. It's about relatability. It's about your vision. You know, where you see the things going. So I do like what you said about his vision as far as, okay, being a Gold Jacket, he may have great vision on where the running backs can end up. But as a coach, doesn't the coach bring a whole nother aspect to it? And if you never coached a game before, or if you've never coached a position,
right,
the game it moves fast. So if you've never coached it, it makes me feel like I'm ready for coaching.
He's played it at the fastest level you can play it at. So for him to translate that information over to those young men, they're gonna be receptive to it. They're not gonna say, "Well, this guy don't know what he's doing." He's played it at the fastest level in the NFL. Not only that, he has an assistant coach that's credible. It's almost like I could see if he didn't have anybody, the assistant that he brought in. Let's say he brought in an assistant coach from I use a HBCU. Then he brought in Falk, right?
Mm-hmm.
With no experience. Do you think that recipe is good or just flat out terrible?
I'm having issue with it because I'm ready for Colorado to take the step in the right direction
and run the ball like you seen last night with Ohio State.
Well, yeah, they run the ball, but when it comes to certain positions, like, we keep trusting the Gold Jackets, but we keep making these arguments for the Gold Jacket, but I feel like it's not necessary. I'm under the impression that if you bring in a coach that knows how to coach college running backs, they can be successful. The Gold Jacket is a smokescreen for me.
I agree with you on that. I agree, and the reason that I agree with you on that is because of I agree with you on that. I feel like it is, but I feel like if you bringing in all these Gold Jackets, I think that's more of a recruiting tactic than anything else. But in a teaching tactic to show these young men what it really takes, almost like a training camp to show these guys what it really takes to make it and be successful in the NFL. If you really have a desire to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, 2023 they went 4-8. 2024 they went 9-4. with more gold jackets versus the staff that he had initially when he came over from Jackson State. That's a huge difference. So
But
I
but
can't you
but
can't
if
necessarily
you're gonna say
downplay
that,
that.
come on now, you know how we go on. You know how we do on the show. If you're gonna say that, then we're gonna have to dig into the nuances and really figure out how the gold jackets, the effectiveness of the gold jackets. You see
They
what I'm
went
saying?
You're right, right.
Because we can't measure the, you know what I'm saying? We can't measure the gold jackets effect. We can't.
Okay.
We had them. We didn't have them. We didn't have as much before, but we did have them. But how can we measure that and directly pinpoint that? Oh, it was because of the gold jacket that we got 9-4.
It's because the experience of those gold jackets, like I stated earlier, they know what it takes to be great. They know what it
Well, they didn't know
takes.
what it takes to beat Kansas.
Exactly, but it didn't translate over onto the field. But what I'm saying is they know how to put you in position to do that. They can't suit up and go out there and do it. If they were able to do that, yes, they would have beat Kansas, but they're not able to do that. So if the players aren't taking all that knowledge and implementing it on the field, then hey, you know what I mean? It's I don't really know how to honestly how to explain it because anybody could get beat any given Saturday or
I,
any given Sunday.
I don't hate the gold jacket idea. I just
Mm-hmm.
I want to make that plain and clear. But I think we can't be delusional and not question and not ask questions. Right? We got to ask questions because I think if we say experience as at the coaching level doesn't matter and playing experience matters more, then we have to also ask the question, then why do the coaches, the player coaches that have been given opportunity to coach, why haven't they translated? Why haven't all of them translated? You see what I'm saying? Because
You
they're
talking
all
about
player
into
coaches.
coaching?
Huh?
You talking about translated over into coaching?
Yeah, because there have been players that have been given opportunities, but they're never translated. They're never translated into much. If it's almost like we're saying, well, yeah, the gold jacket matters, but then what about the gold jackets that are coaching, but then the non-gold jackets are beating their tail? Then you got to ask the question: how much does it matter over experience as a coach?
I think for Coach Prime, those gold jackets mean a lot because those guys can relate to him versus a non-NFL coach that maybe been coaching for a while. The loyalty, the structure of the NFL locker room, uh, I feel like Coach Prime is, how can I say that? He may feel more safer with those type of individuals in his circle at CU, if that makes sense.
At William Hopkins, you're assuming Falk doesn't have coaching experience. Well, that was the first thing that the analysts talked about. He has no coaching experience. When I'm saying coaching experience, I ain't talking about coaching his kids in his backyard like I'm doing my child. I'm talking about at the level he wants to coach at. We can't just ignore that, right? I mean, if y'all want to, that's fine. I'll leave it alone. Like, yeah, but if y'all say, "Oh yeah, he's a gold jacket, he's played before, let's bring him in." Like, yeah, I get it. But when I'm saying coaching experience, I'm talking about the resume. It has to matter. The resume has to matter. If it doesn't, then all of these people being hired, they have to go sit down and they have to share their vision to the head coach or the university, and they're going to say,
But
"Oh, go ahead."
no, I was gonna say, but Coach Prime is giving them the opportunity if they have a desire, regardless of if they have previous coaching experience. It's almost like you have I mean, how can I explain it? This is almost like saying you're the CEO of a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got somebody that went to school for have a master's degree in computer technology or IT, but you have me who's a master in it, but I don't have a lick of college education.
Mm-hmm.
Whom are you willing to hire first? The person that you're gonna have to maybe possibly, even though he has a master's degree, train, or the person that already knows it and mastered it, and it's just smooth transition.
But I don't think the two are equal, and let me explain why. In the business world, you want experience based on who's done it before, because you know they're going to come in and they're going to be able to go right away. In coaching, it's a little bit different because you're not necessarily playing the game. Your vision on the field and how you would do certain things when depending on what you were seeing is going to be different. Translating that to somebody else or to multiple people, that's what the experience we're asking for. If it was you and you're sitting in front of the computer, that's different than, oh, does this guy know how to translate what he knows and what he's done?
Teaching it.
Yeah, can he teach it to other folks? I think
Yes.
that's where I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm not saying Marshall Faulk ain't gonna be a good coach because he's done it before. We don't mind. I don't mind the person that has the gold jacket that has done it before, but I'm asking the question: should Colorado start looking more for coaches with experience, or should we keep bringing in more gold jackets? That's the challenge for Colorado fans. And then also Wild Dog. He said technically Coach Prime didn't have any experience prior to JSU. That is not correct. Coach Prime was a two-time state champion at the high school level.
He coached
right?
at Truth. He was a offensive coordinator and if I'm not mistaken, the head coach at Truth. So yeah,
Right.
Coach Prime has
Coach Prime, and then prior to that, he was coaching them like at the Pee Wee level, at the Pee Wee level too. So that's what I'm saying. Like the thing about coaching is like I think people think like it's just a thing. If you've played the game, then you should be able to coach. That's not the truth. The game is a little bit different from when you're sitting on the sideline trying to make decisions based on what you're seeing versus you're on the field and you know how to react because it's just you. There's a difference. So if it wasn't a difference, then everybody who played the game that was given an opportunity to coach would translate easily. That's all I'm saying. I mean, they would just translate easily because they play the game at the highest level and they would just easily all you would have would be player coaches.
But do you not think that well, let me ask you a question first. Do you think that Marshall Faulk is a highly intelligent individual?
Oh, I would say. I mean, I can't question that.
Okay, great. I'm glad we agree on that part.
Before you finish that thought, I think Wild Dog is answering his own question there. He's saying Prime is a 3-time state champ. You can't say Prime is a 3-time state champ, Wild Dog, and then say Prime had no experience before JSU. You can't have it both ways. Anyway, go ahead. I just had to get that one out there, Wild Dog. Go ahead.
Wow. Okay. So we both agree that he's a highly intelligent individual. And
Yes, that we
can
can
we
agree on. Yes.
okay, can we agree that he knows he knows how to play and teach the position of running back?
But no, but the question, hold on now. Being intelligent doesn't mean that you can teach or coach. Right?
Yeah,
Right?
I'm setting you up, but go
Yeah, I know
ahead.
you're trying to set me up, but you know that many have tried. Few have succeeded on this channel. I may not be the best football mind, but there ain't gonna be a month that you get past me. Because you're intelligent does not mean that you can translate that into teaching or coaching. That's not how it works. And I'm not questioning his intelligence. I'm questioning the fact that he has no experience as a coach. And if
That's the
should we
only factor that you have.
continue to go for the Gold Jackets? Right? Should we continue to go for the Gold Jackets as opposed to getting actual coaches with coaching experience? That's the question. It ain't about
go with the Gold Jackets. Why not? It's gonna help for recruiting. They're if the kids have a desire to go to the NFL, why not go with the Gold Jackets at? Because they're gonna be able to tell you the ins and outs. They're gonna be able to tell you the whole landscape of the NFL. You know what I mean? These guys are
but from what you talking about, from the running backs perspective?
From any position. Deion
well,
Sanders,
I mean, but you already got Gold Jackets there, so ain't no. What they need more? I mean, what more do they need?
Even though Coach Prime had previous experience coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before he came to Jackson State, Travis Hunter trusted Coach Prime Gold Jacket more than he trusted the Gold Jacket. He trusted the NFL experience that Coach Prime had.
Let me ask you a question, Tim.
Uh-huh.
Do you think Coach Prime is unique? Forget about the fact that he has a Gold Jacket, but do you think that he's unique and that the coaching thing is also in his wheelhouse? Do you think that? Because it almost sounds like what I'm reading from the chat and what you're saying, it almost sounds like we're saying if you've done it before, you're the best coach, as opposed to somebody who's actually been coaching. So I ask you the question again. Do you think that Coach Prime is unique as a coach?
Yep. I think he's a unique coach.
And well, I ain't trying to take this left. I ain't trying to go left with this. I'm asking for a very specific reason. He was a unique player, but as a coach, do you think he's unique? Because at the end of the day, he's able to relate to players. His message is able to resonate, and he's able to get results. Not at the big games yet, but I'm sure he's going to figure that out, right? But I think that's what makes a coach somebody who's relatable, somebody who has a vision and can translate their vision or communicate their vision for other people to get it.
Right.
That's what a coach is for.
Right. So and that's what makes him unique to me. So
that's why I'm asking the question. I feel like, hey, we knew that he was unique as a player, but do you see any resemblance or semblance of him as a coach and a player? Do you see that in him as well?
Yes,
I do.
I do.
But I don't think that goes the same for all Gold Jackets. I think he's unique.
I think that you started to see that with Sap. BJ Green had one of the best seasons of his career. His first and final year with under Sap in them, because of the uniqueness. Travis Hunter had his best 3 years of college football because of the uniqueness of Coach Prime. Now, if Colorado decides to run the ball next season, and you don't think that that's going to translate to Michael Welch, Hayden, and the other running back? And is Charlie still there?
Charlie Overthrow is there, yeah.
Yeah, and Charlie. These guys are unique in their own individual way. Coach Primes just stand out more than others.
Who was coaching first? Eddie George or Coach Prime?
Coach Prime.
Eddie George started.
Eddie George may have started at the college level, but Coach Prime started first.
No. I'm talking about that at the college level.
I don't know who was. I think Eddie George may have been at Tennessee State first. I'm not 100% sure. I want to say, but don't hold me to it.
Okay. I'm only using Eddie George because he's also a Gold Jacket, to make the point. If the Gold Jacket reigns supreme, then why has Eddie George not translated into national championships at the FCS level? Why is he not translating?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I just know that he's the head coach. I haven't actually took the time and effort to look into his staff and the players that they're bringing in, or none of that. I haven't taken the time to dive in, so I can't really answer to that.
I mean, I get it. I understand, resources and all of those things. So I can't really fault him being at Tennessee State. I can't fault him for not winning, but if we're trying to say, okay, we're looking at the Gold Jacket, and if these people are at the pinnacle of the game and they're the highest, then they're highly intelligent. They should be kicking some butt. Like everyone that is actually a Gold Jacket that has the opportunity to coach should win it every year, because they have done it better than anybody that they're coaching against. But what I've seen with these Gold Jackets who play against other guys that are not Gold Jacket, they're getting their butt whooped.
That's because of the bag. That's all because of the money. If you give these Gold Jackets the same amount of money as Ohio State and some of these LSUs and Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, you give them the same amount of money, you'll see a shift in players where they're going to go to. And I guarantee you it'll be Colorado.
So you're saying that Eddie George, coaching at Tennessee State, is not competing at the same level with other coaches that are in his bracket?
No, I was referencing Colorado.
No. I'm staying true to the conversation as far as the Gold Jacket and the experience. Once you go to the money, then we lose the essence of the conversation, because it's not fair, right? I'm talking about pure coaching. Does Eddie George, being a Gold Jacket, when he lines up against another FCS team, does he always beat them? Because, right, so based on this, he should be reigning supreme. He should be wreaking havoc in the FCS.
I mean, he should be, but you know, when Prime came to Jackson, he left something at Jackson that kids want to be a part of. Jackson is hot. Grambling gonna be hot because of his name they that their band has created. Not only that, the legacy at the University of Grambling State University. Southern gonna always get good players each and every year because of South Louisiana, down there in the Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans area. So they're gonna always be competitive. Southern University is, Grambling too, Jackson State too. So those I don't those guys just choose to. There's other factors that go into it to why he may not be dominating. A lot of those HBCU kids, a lot of them for the most part prefer to stay around home and play.
So I guess essentially what I'm saying is, while the Gold Jacket may have its benefits, when you want to learn about the NFL, when you want to get information on linkage or something like that, while the Gold Jacket may have its significance, right? I think the Colorado fan base puts too much weight on the coaching aspect of the Gold Jacket. It's a common thing that we do here. Like we get good players. I ain't saying they're terrible players. We get good players and we say they're dogs. We get Gold Jackets and we hold them up high. And we say this is going to be the best thing for Colorado. But is it really? Are we really willing to be critical with the hires and with the gets? Are we willing to ask the crazy questions that nobody wants to think about? Because we need to get experienced coaches. But every time you ask the question, it's like, oh, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Eddie George is the best coach ever. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be like.
So with Coach Prime coming to see you as the head coach, we can both say thus far this has been a good hire.
Somewhat.
No, Harry. You got to say he only going into year 3. He inherited a 1-11 team, went 4-8, then 9-4. That's a big improvement.
Well, yeah. Let me bring on DC. He can let me see if he can answer this question. DC, what up with you? Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. I just got a moment, but you right in a great spot. What up, Tim? You got in a great spot where I think I can provide some perspective on it.
Provide some perspective. I'm going to take this call and go ahead and provide that perspective.
All right. So the thing is, a lot of people will say because you are a great player, you should be a great coach. That is not true. I can tell you this as an officer. I'm sure that my wild dog will be able to say is that just because I'm good at a task doesn't mean I'm good leading people in that. You hear me?
Right.
Can you hear me? Right. So the thing is that it leadership. Everybody doesn't have leadership, just like everybody doesn't have athletic ability. And it takes time to so a person that's good at a task may come in and be able to point out best practices, processes, and the pitfalls, but that doesn't mean that they can bring a group of people together and have them operate at the same level that that person was able to operate as an individual. People don't work that way. So that's kind of why I'm jumping on is that I understand the aspect of saying, well, you got to go, Jackson, you got experience. And generally, that's going to be good probably in situational type of experience or watching different things and being able to speak running backs into a running back's ear. However, coaching and managing all the running backs and all the distractions and stuff that happen on the campus, that is not easy. Go ahead, Tim.
I agree with you on that, DC, but I the running backs that they have now, I can say that they have bought in to what Coach Prime is trying to build
Yeah, the
thus
two
far.
yards 2 yards a year.
Well, what I'm saying is none of them hit the transfer portal. So yet. So because there's still a window open. But what I'm saying is that I think Coach Prime is smart enough to bring in those individuals that can help translate that over into those players. I don't
Tim,
think
Tim,
he
what
would
are
have
you
bought them in.
struggling with? Tim, I feel like you're struggling. Or are you struggling? I got your back. Just in case you don't want to sound crazy to the fan base, I got your back. But what are you struggling with this today?
I guess I'm struggling with the translation part. Like Marshall Falk is not going to be able to come in, even though he don't have any coaching experience. But I feel like the type of individual he is, that I feel like his message, whatever that may be, will resonate with players. But
Well, we
there's
don't know
other
that yet,
we
right?
don't.
Yeah, we don't know that yet. But the thing that I'm challenging is not that Marshall Faulk cannot work out. I ain't saying
Mhm.
that. I'm just
Right.
asking if Colorado is serious about going in the playoffs and winning the Big 12, is it time for us to start looking outside of the Go Jacket and bringing people in that have coaching experience? Is what I'm asking.
I
It's
think
not.
bring in the
It's almost like you're
players.
asking the question, but it's like if you ask this question, that means that you must hate the other guy. Is the two doesn't have to be the same.
No,
He could he,
hate
he
the other
could
guy.
possibly work out. He could definitely work out. But I'm asking a question as a fan to say, hey man, we want to go into a direction, a place where Colorado's football program is going to be competing with a lot of different programs that are actually serious about winning a chip. And we keep bringing in Go Jackets and making excuses for them.
But Harry,
But
the thing
It's the
being is that's the thing that I get what you're seeing it from a fan standpoint, and it's okay to be a fan. I mean, Marshall Faulk, phenomenal running back. I'm a huge fan of Kirk Warner, which was the QB at the time. If you ever get a chance to read his story of Kurt Warner, it is freaking phenomenal. But here's the thing: people in our community, people in these football spaces. I need you to understand. I watched Prime, Love Prime, all that back in the day. Just because you were good at a task does not mean you are a good leader. There's no way around it. And I think that's what gets people caught up thinking this person because they achieved something. Listen, just because you're an employee of the year don't mean you can be the CEO. It don't work that way because there's other things that go on. And you got to understand sometimes when you are great at something, you can get frustrated because it's very difficult to teach people because people learn differently. And at the end of the day, folks, you can't make a piece of wood a diamond. You can't do it. So if you don't have the people that are already there that have those skill sets to do what it is that you want to do, you're going to reach what's called capacity. That means that I have reached my maximum ability for this person to do something. I might get some moments where they exceed capacity, which means, let's say, for example, capacity being if I have a factory and I make teddy bears, I can make 10 in an hour. I might be able to make 15 and it looks good, but I can only make 15 for so long before the whole system breaks down. And we kind of saw that go down in with Colorado. They had reached the capacity and then we saw some drop off. Not saying they still don't have some good pieces. That's what I'm trying to on this panel this morning to say. You have to understand just because he's good and he has to have time to grow. Leading people is not easy. I don't care what nobody said. It's not easy, especially if you're trying to corral and keep young men focused on a college campus. Some of y'all were on college campus as individuals, and it took you a hard time to focus. Now imagine to have to manage 10, 15 people and get them focused and make sure they go into class and not into other stuff. That's not easy. And that's the stuff And that's the stuff that if you don't do Sunday through Friday, you'll lose on Saturday.
And the game goes fast. The game is fast. Like there's a lot of things that are going on when it comes to the game. I'm not saying he can't do it. He can. Again, these conversations are nuanced conversations. We go into the trenches and we try to dig out information. But I don't know that the idea of the conversation or the essence of the conversation is being heard by certain people. And maybe it doesn't have to be. Maybe I don't have to reach everybody. I just have to have the conversation for people to think for a little bit. Because you're not going to get everybody to understand what you're trying to say, because some people just are not understanding on that level that you're on understanding it.
Right.
Coach Falk,
but
if he's coaching, right, he may be able to tell you, hey, we do this and we do that. But what about game planning? What about saying, hey, Prime, we need to do X, Y, and Z to beat X, Y, and Z team. We need to be able to put this package in to be able to beat this team for the running backs. That whole process is a whole nother process than being able to say, hey, if you see this type of defense, this is what you need to do to be able to get around and make room for yourself to run.
Now,
that's mechanics.
Now, are you speaking into him talking to the players, or are you speaking in the aspect of talking to the head coach?
I think I'm doing sort of both. There's a line where you talk to the players, and then there's a line where you game plan. The game plan, everybody comes to that round table that Coach Prime puts on well off every now and then. Everybody comes in, and then we all put our ideas on the table on how we're going to beat this team, right? I think that's how it's done, right? In the coach's room, they all come together as a committee, and they try to glean from each other. Right, they strategize and they glean from each other, and Coach Prime will put everything that he has on the table and say, okay, we're facing Georgia Tech this weekend. They're the number 10 run stoppers in the game. All right, Mr. Falk, what is your idea? How do we run the ball with them being the number 10 run stoppers in the game, and we got to face them? Mm-hmm. Marshall Faulk now has to come up with his game plan on how we're going to be able to run the ball. There's a difference of that versus him being on the field and telling those young men, hey, this is how I want you to move, because I know, because I did it. And if this guy, if he was running squared up, this is how I got him to switch his position so that I can run past him. There's a difference there. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's the coach versus the guy that played it, and he can tell you how to do it best.
But Harry, he's also to a point is that when you look at it, because like an NFL is more so about matchups. So it may be like, hey, check this out. We're not going to be able to run on this team. Not straight up the middle. So we're not running up three in the gaps. We're going to have to get more so on the perimeters. So this back probably needs to be the one that's featured this week, Augusta, because we can swing him out. He's got that perimeter speed. We can do that kind of stuff. But hey, this week, hey, you know what? Nebraska, they got some monsters up the middle. I need to make sure that we have more so I need to bring a back in as protection. And then also, which is the obvious, which Harry screen, I don't need to have my QB making obvious moves that I'm not handing the ball over. At least do a hand fake afterwards to at least make the defense honest. And so that's what the running back coach should be. Hey, you sit up here talking about my RBs, but you ain't sitting up here. The QB fakes is horrible. He not putting it in. We got to get some more extra reps on getting this guy in there. Those are things that you don't just have them where they're teaching them and you're adding to the game plan, but it's saying, here's what we can do. And you also have to know what you can't do. And it's a hard time sometimes for people to understand. And we saw that with some teams. Colorado was able to do phenomenal, but there were some teams that they were going there. Remember, we always said Colorado's weakness, the way to beat Colorado is to get pressure on Shedeur and be able to run the ball. That won almost every time. And that's the thing with them going in this year. Now you're going it where you really don't know what you have. You know what you have as individuals, but you don't really know what you have as a team because Coach Prime has had Shador for forever, and we saw what Travis would do. He had Travis what 4 years. So that's going to be the thing, and there's got to be that commitment to running the ball. Do you have the line to do it?
And see, that's why I say it come down to the players. But as far as what you was just stating, Harry, I feel like Falk can come in and identify with each running back their style of running, their style of play, how they would fit in with whatever playbook that they have drawn up for the week. I'm pretty sure he can identify with which running back would fit better against this team, whether it's a shifty, elusive Michael Welch or a downhill runner with Charlie Offerdahl or Dallin Hayden or whomever. I'm pretty sure that he's smart enough to identify that and use each running back to the best of their capabilities. Do we have the O-line to do so? I'm not bought on the O-line just yet. I mean, I'm just not. And it's going to take a while for me too. But especially if you got to go to those schools that I've been naming for a long time to get them. But
don't do it, Tim.
It's just like, I feel like Falk can identify him and his assistant to put those guys in the best position. Not only that, we got a quarterback now where defenses are going to have to keep an eye out on him.
Don't say now. We had that before. We've always had that.
No, we did not. That type of quarterback that we have now.
You had to keep an eye on Shador. Are you kidding?
No.
If you didn't keep an eye on what Shador's about, you talking about running?
I'm talking running and throwing. Shador is not like this kid here, man. This kid,
I ain't gonna hold you, Tim. I ain't gonna let you make this false claim either. Shador, you had to plan for. You had to plan for Shador.
Yes, you had to plan for Shador and Travis.
But isn't that what you mean by keeping an eye on?
What I'm talking about, that's going to the quarterback that CU has now is going to open up the running game because he can run. Last night, Notre Dame ran their quarterback numerous of times, which kept that defense on Ohio State side honest in that first drive, that 75-yard drive to score. So you have to keep a linebacker spying him, but he can spin it. So that opened up the passing game. So instead of having one running back in the backfield, now you have to account for two.
I see that point, and I definitely see that point, and I get what you're saying, but it ain't like Shador was some just sitting duck and he couldn't run either,
But what he's I think Tim is trying to say is that you saw how Will Howard was used, which is it's just amazing that Will Howard wind up getting bumped out for Avery Johnson at Kansas State. I mean, that baffles me. And think about that dude left
last night.
Good God. I think Phil had said something about that, so I don't want to take credit for that. But the thing being is that if you use Salter like that and you got the running backs, Colorado is going on slicing folks up. But the thing is, now you got to get used to doing your run game, because think about it, was mainly pass. And I'm curious what Wild Dog has to say about getting your linemen now, if you're going to start running, to go from a 70-80% pass to now. I still don't think they're going to be running the ball because check this out, folks. I know we're saying the running backs ain't going nowhere, but on the other end, is there some place for them to go? I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just asking.
throw it. Hey, throw that shade.
I'm just asking. And then the other thing is, what running back do you know in the portal that's willing to come and you get 2 carries for 19 yards.
DC, let me help you out. What did Colorado do for their running backs to set them up for success at another school? Nothing. So where they go? So it ain't their fault. So what you're gonna leave Colorado as a running back to show what tape at what school for them to be like, oh yeah, we want you. Where? So Colorado set them up. Colorado set them up for Colorado. Colorado did just enough to keep them because where you going? You ain't going nowhere. You can't go. You ain't got no tape. Colorado made sure you didn't have a tape. So you didn't go get 200 to 300 yards in any game for you to be like, oh yeah, I'm good.
They got tape of you sitting on the bench drinking Gatorade, but that's about it.
So that was strategic. Coach Prime is a genius. I can't, yo. I don't want to do it. I did it, but I don't want to do it. So listen, they're running. One thing I do have to give them this year, I do have to give it up. Coach Prime did not lose that many players. Remember we talked about retention? Coach Prime did not lose that many players this year. I have no idea what they did to start keeping the players that they got to help them to grow. I have no idea what they're doing, but we gotta give a shout out for Coach Prime for whatever their retention program is, because it's working. It worked this time around. If we were losing like 40 players again, then I'd be like, oh no, I can't do it no more. I can't, because you're not gonna know nobody coming around here. But Coach Prime kept most of his players. The question is, are they doing enough? Is Coach Prime and his staff, are they doing enough to even smell the Big 12 championship? Any of y'all can take that. Do y'all think they're doing enough to smell that Big 12 championship? We can leave the whole Marshall Faulk thing alone.
I'm waiting on Tim to answer.
I think Tim is a little busy, so you answer.
Oh man, Jesus!
We got to be honest. Like and okay, we can take it a little further. Where would they to even qualify? What enough? Like what enough is? The rooms that they have to upgrade on the offense to say, okay, Colorado is going to be able to compete at the level they did in 2024. They got to update the trenches, the running backs room. They got to get a better running backs coach, and the coordinator has to change his entire scheme. Is Colorado doing any of that? I don't think we're going to be able to tell whether they're changing their scheme. I don't even know if they talk about that, but if we keep him past Shurmur, we can only suspect that he's going to keep the scheme he had in 2024, which sucks.
So here's the thing I'm going to say. You hear people say Coach Prime got 5-star Travis Hunter, right?
Okay.
And remember how you sit back and say, ain't nobody throwing on Travis, right? Okay. So here's the thing. I think people are not realizing is that you just lost somebody that shut down a side of a field. You just lost it. And that's saying that you don't have good receivers, but you can't sit here and tell me that the receivers on that team have the same type of ball handling and ability to get open, escapability like Travis Hunter did.
Wait,
no.
But then Preston Hodge lock down another side?
He ain't lock it down, but not like Hunter.
Okay.
That's the difference. Now he was good. Don't get me wrong, but there's a difference between like Coach Prime locked down a field. I'm not throwing nothing that way. That's a different ball game versus being to a point of, hey, I need to be mindful of this guy, his closing speed. He's got good cover skills, that type of stuff. You lost that ability, and if you don't have that push up front, now you to a point where put it like this: nobody is going to be scared to throw on you. That's it. And you're not going to have the receiver. Again, folks, check this out. This is not hate. This is if you think you can, because you're talking about you had a having top draft picks and a Heisman winner, not candidate, winner, you don't just replace those. So thinking you're going to go out there and have a receiver that will have the same type of synchronization that he had with Shanor and the explosive ability, that's no. That means other people have to step up and fill those roles. So it's not so simple to sit here and say, hey, I expect them to come out and even be better. No, I don't at all, because it's hard to replace a round draft pick QB. I know folks are saying, well, Salter X, Y, and Z, but you're gonna have to be real and acknowledge if Salter was that pinnacle Heisman type, would have been should have been in the NFL draft. Not saying that he won't be good by any means.
He wouldn't need one more year at Colorado.
Right. So because even Cam Ward could have went to the NFL.
We have to hold you honest, though, DC. We have to hold you honest. He is a serviceable quarterback that you always say that's all you need.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. The plus is that now instead of just giving Shedeur, giving Salter the ability to call whatever play he wants to, I think that Pat Schumer will have more control over that. So that's a good thing, because now you can actually coach and have the game plan versus, hey, Shedeur depending upon his arm, and then you can kind of manage it with somebody having the speed instead of being like 3rd and 12 and Shedeur can bail you out. You need to have it to a point. Go ahead.
It's something like Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan, but Shedeur was no Michael Jordan. You feel me? It's like Phil Jackson could just say, okay, we're in this situation. We know where the ball is going. We're going to put the ball in Michael Jordan's hands.
But think about it.
When you put the ball in Shedeur's hands, it was like, So I don't know if it's like that. It's like, okay, it's hard to coach. If you are a coach, you have a Michael Jordan, you know that's the best player, so you're going to have to design plays for him. Was Shedeur a Michael Jordan? No. So it was hard. Like, the way he handed the ball off was kind of lazy. I'm like, I don't know, Shedeur. You're going to have to work on that. There was no tucking the ball in. There was none of that. Who would you rather have had? Caleb Williams or Shedeur?
Whew. That is a tough one. But I think, but see, the thing is, I'm gonna be keep it 100, which is not that I think that between those two, I think it was to a point where it's that they made the decision to pass the ball too much. Now they won. Don't get me wrong, they won. Shedeur was phenomenal. I just think, put it like this: in order for them, we all seen this. This is fact. This is not just DC's opinion. If you don't have the trenches in the running game, you are not going into that Big 12 championship, and you are not going to do a deep run off into the doggone playoff. It's not going to happen. Think about that. All the teams that had so trenches, the Indianas, they was gone first round. SMU gone first round. But the ones that had the, like you call the big juicy white guy, the beef, they was throwing people to the ground.
Yeah. But Colorado's not making those moves. Colorado is getting bodies. I ain't gonna hold you. Colorado's went out and they're getting some bodies. But are these able bodies, or are these championship bodies that we're getting? I mean, we're yet to tell, but isn't PFF or these analysts, can it not give us some type of insight as to what we're getting based on their production from other teams that they're coming from?
Well, they can see some things, absolutely, but I think they also, it's not just about getting dogs or whatever. It is about replacing key, holes in your roster and then putting the team together. But I want to know what the chat thinks. Like, do they think that Colorado has the pieces to be, like, right now I can say, I know we're going to be Big 12 champs? Or can you say, we will be in the running? And if so, I want to know what it is what's the 2 or the 3 things that they say this tells me they're going to be there, because it can't just be Salter. It can't be. Think about it. Avery Johnson, you can't tell me Salter is faster than Avery Johnson. No. And Avery Johnson can pass a little bit. There's some similarities, but they weren't able to do it, though they had a bigger team and they had a running game. So are you sitting here saying to me because you got Salter, now you're as good as the Iowa State, though they won't have Scatterboo. You're as good as the not Iowa State, Arizona State. Are you as good as Iowa State? Rocco Beck is coming back. Are you still that good?
This is the thing, though. This is the thing that people are not going to be thinking about. The way they had the preseason rankings, Kansas, Utah, the other teams that were ranked as high, Kansas State, those teams are going to be good this year. So that's what I'm like. Colorado, if Colorado does not make moves in the trenches to make sure that Juju and Salter can be protected, boy.
Yeah, but but this is and I got mad love for the Texas truth. But I gotta say this. I see what you're saying, bro. But you got blown out by
What's he
like
saying?
the whole thing about saying what real fans don't watch. I watched you get blown out by BYU with a Heisman candidate, a Heisman winner, and the top QB being picked. I watched that game. So how do you tell me not to watch that game? And I know you're losing those 2 players. That's what I'm saying. It's no love or nothing. It's just to a point when you say watch this or y'all not watching. I watched it, and I saw what happened. Colorado was never in that game. Now you can sit there and say, well, they was doing other stuff. They was focused. Players show up to play. At the end of the day, you can't have it both ways. So when I'm making this assessment, I'm saying the last game I saw, you had 2 great players on that team. Shedeur is phenomenal. Hunter is phenomenal. And they got swallowed by BYU. And the size difference was you could see it. So that's what I'm trying to say is that, okay, BYU was considered to be one of the top teams in there, and you got blown out by them. How do we now turn around and say, well, we're going to be great? Not saying they can't. I just want to know how.
How, Sway? You ain't got the answers, Sway. So Colton Hood, McKinney, Preston Hodge, Vickers, they're good players. Ain't nobody saying they're good players. But here's the thing. They were on the team when we already seen them. Kansas State beat us. Kansas beat us. BYU beat us. The question becomes, this is not a hating thing. Why do we have to fight against this, like everything? It's a discussion. You try to point at the different holes that are in your team. Colorado needs depth, right? When you had the players that we had, these are guys that are stepping up. Who's behind them? And these guys were not all conference guys. Not all of them, right? Like when you're talking about these guys stepping up, these are going to be our number ones. So, and we're going against the Big 12 conference. Are we saying that, okay, all of a sudden these guys are going to become all conference players because they have the experience, which nobody knows yet? Do you believe it?
Well, I think for me, it's like a question's asked. DC, be honest, how much do you really know about the players on the team today? It's not about just knowing what's on Colorado's team. Bruh, it's knowing the teams on the schedule.
What do you want us to know, though? Like, what is there to not know? If you watch the Colorado games, which we all did, what more are you supposed to know that somebody who watched the games knows. What exactly are we not? What did we miss that they all of a sudden have this epiphany on that we don't know? We literally analyze the game back and forth here on this channel every single freaking week. So what in the world do y'all know that we don't know? Y'all don't know nothing we don't know. We do this every single week.
Well, the thing,
every
go ahead,
room,
Cook.
we have taken the room for room and we have analyzed each room and gone over the players. And then we seeing them play in the season. So ain't nothing you know that we don't know.
Hey, what we on? I'm sorry, guys. I had to jump on a call.
What?
We was talking about how that the question will be, do we really understand the players that are on CU? My thing is, Harry was saying, when we talk about them all the time, and I'm be honest with you, there's no way you cannot watch these Colorado content, especially Harry B, and not know the doggone players on field. You gotta know.
I mean, you may could fumble a name here and there, you know, wonder what if somebody was a starter, but you're acting like we're not around here in this Colorado ecosystem. We're not getting the videos that you're getting. We don't see the thumbnails that you see. You're the anomaly in this whole Colorado ecosystem. There are like 100 creators that are doing the same content. We're all dealing with the same thing, and then our references are going to be well-off media. It reached the people, Neely. You see what I'm saying? And then you'll get me doing articles and bringing in information that I've learned about Coach Prime and come on, like, let me bring Phil on because I'm starting to feel like, are we not in this ecosystem? Or do they know something we don't know? Or is this like,
nah, we're all in it because they
all
have to
in it.
ULM.
If anything, we should know more than you because we analyze the thing. All you do is just sit back and relax. Phil, please help us out here because I'm starting to feel some kind of way because I don't want to say the wrong thing to the wrong person.
So, okay, so I need to defend the panel and the knowledge that we have about Colorado. Is that what's going on?
If you want to, I don't see that you.
Yes, do it.
Man, look,
Okay, you can do that, but then I want to know what Colorado is coming in with because that's what we try to do here on this panel. So you can start with defend the panel. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. I don't care.
Just before you cook, I'm just gonna say the odds are already out on FanDuel for Colorado to win the national championship in 2026. It's 15,000. Continue.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Hey, Shirley.
Hey, Shirley. No, so I'll say this. I think with respect to the panel, we have people on here that have a wide array of knowledge when it comes to college football. We all provide our own perspectives. For the people in the chat, I appreciate you commenting on us. You're more than welcome to come on the panel. I know everybody can't do it, but to just act like we come over here just to be talking, but you still watch every 2 days, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense to me. So clearly we must provide something for you. As far as what CU is going to bring in this year, I honestly haven't dived into it that much yet because I'm at the point now I'm ready just to wait for the spring transfer portal because with college football and with the new administration going on right now, we don't know how things are going to look. So I don't think we're going to have a clear understanding of what the team is going to look like until after the spring. But I don't know how to feel just yet. I haven't seen enough names that caught my attention, but also you can't focus on names. You got to focus on what's on the field. We won't see that until August of next year or August of this year. So we just got to wait.
So look, let me just answer a few things. Rudy, right? We don't speak any definites. We're analyzing. There's no definites here. And then the Texas truth. When I call you out on you calling people names and you saying stuff, I don't call you no names, but here you are calling somebody goofies. You say you're tired of goofies. We're goofies, and you're not. You feel me? Like, I don't know what knowledge you got about Colorado that we don't, but ain't nobody's goofies here. I ain't your goofy. I know that for a fact. And I don't want to say what I need to say, but because I might get mad. All right, I'm just gonna leave it right there. All right, I'm gonna leave that right there because you don't want to make me mad. That's just one thing.
Hey, I would like to say
Hey,
this.
can I comment on the Marshall Falk thing? Tim finish, but
No.
if I
Go
can,
ahead.
if I
Go
can.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you,
Go
Tim. I
ahead.
appreciate it. So real quick, Marshall Falk, man. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see more black coaches getting involved. I'm happy to see more former players getting involved in coaching. I don't know how effective it's going to be for Colorado from an X's and O's standpoint, but it definitely will bring more attention to them. I think my biggest concern is, regardless of the coach that you bring in, what level of expertise are they going to bring? Is it going to be like technique? Is it going to be scheme, X's and O's? Is it going to be recruiting? Is it roster management? What value add is that coach going to provide? So that's what I want to know from Marshall Falk. What value add is he going to provide? And also, my second concern is, what unknown coach right now just lost that opportunity that could be the next big thing, but lost it because Marshall Falk may be getting a job because he has a gold jacket? That's all.
Do you want us to answer those questions?
I don't know none.
I mean, I'm just sharing my thoughts on it because I didn't get to jump on earlier. That's all. I'm just trying to catch up. But I'm going whichever direction you take the show here. I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is the value added is his gold jacket and the recruiting that may come with that. But again, I don't care. You can add 20,000 gold jackets. They're going to ask you. If I'm a dad, I'm asking you, bruh, are you willing to run the ball more than you ran it before? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what can you tell me? Because you told me before that you're going to run the ball. Preseason 2024.
So I want to ask the chat, I want to ask the panel this. For people that know about Deion Sanders and followed all his stuff back at Jackson State and when he was at Trinity and all this kind of stuff, everybody said he ran the ball, right? So what makes you think, what is the reason behind him not running the ball this year? Because if it was something he did before, why did he not do it this year? And can it be fixed?
That's what I want
You
to know.
can't ask a gold jacket what he do. Who you feel so real trying to tell a gold jacket how to run his team.
Hey man, I'm an American citizen. I was born here in America. I'm not a legal immigrant, so I have rights, and I'm going to use my rights to say exactly how I feel.
Yo, that's the whole thing. And Rudy, right? You're right. None of us know. So yes, he says. Let me just put this up there, and let me correct something. He said at TLP, he says some of the guys do say things like it can't happen and there's no way and absolutely not. There is a path, even though it's not as likely. Said the same thing about Sapp last year. So okay. Let me clarify, because I know I think you're talking about DC and some other folks and maybe myself. Oh shoot. Okay, so I think this is where you're getting this information from. When we go into like the likelihood of things happening, I think that's what you're alluding to. The likelihood of something happening with the historical data that we know, right? Ohio State went out and emptied the clip. They bought the best players, and they got everything that they needed, and they added two more on top of that. I'm going to repeat that. Ohio State went out, emptied the clip. They got everything they needed, and then added two more of it. 13 5-star players, 55 4-star players, 10 3-star players. Do you think Ohio State had a depth problem, DEPTH problem? Not likely. All right, so the likelihood of Ohio State ending up in the playoffs was the chances of that happening was very high. That's all we're saying. So if we're saying, okay, for instance, Colorado could not beat Kansas and Kansas State, the two very teams that we needed to play in order for us to make the playoff. Well, we beat one of those Kansas teams, we're probably in the playoffs. So with that, right, Rudy? With that being said, if Colorado had a struggle moving the ball and not being able to run the ball, we only liken that to the trenches not being sufficient. So if Colorado does not go out and get elite players, I'm talking about splash players, all right, some 5 stars, 4 stars. If they don't do that, what is the likelihood of Colorado making this Big 12 championship playoff? The Big 12 championship. What is the likelihood? We don't want to put math to it.
Hey,
Well, then the other thing
would
is,
like to say,
go ahead, Tim.
I was just gonna say this real quick, DC. Thank you. I just want to tell Rudy, I hope I can bring some gas to his bonfire, because if you're not going to go out and spend money that you don't have, or that you say you don't have, and you don't have the players necessarily in position, like Ohio State, like Texas, like Alabama, like Georgia, like Oregon, like LSU, they're not going to a playoff. I don't care if they stock their whole system with gold jacket wear. If they don't have the money, they don't have the players to bring in. Colorado is just going to be a team known for
Gold
a bunch
jackets.
of gold jackets.
They're going to be like
And that's
Trump.
facts.
They're going to have a bunch of gold everywhere.
That's it.
But nothing that resembles a trophy.
But the thing being though, that you do have a team that can compete for the Big 12. We know that. Prime is always going to be able to get talent. Everybody knows that.
Time out. We do have a team, or we had a team.
Well, I'm
Don't
saying
try to
that
pander to this crowd. Don't do it, DC.
Well,
Did we have a team, or did we have a team?
you had put it like this: you had better pieces last year to be able to do it last year than you do have at the moment this year.
We got to
Just
keep
keeping
it
it
honest,
100.
DC.
I'm keeping it 100.
Don't fall for the trick. Don't fall for the okie doke.
Oh no, it's not an okie doke. Because that's where I was going. It was like, okay, so I mean, I get you had a Heisman candidate, 2 Heisman candidates. You're gonna have 2 top 5 draft picks. You have the Heisman winner, and you didn't win your conference. You didn't be a top 25 team. Even when Jalen Daniels won at LSU, they still beat top 25 teams. So you're telling me, just looking down the ladder, where does that happen where you lose that type of talent, and then the very next, and you didn't beat top 25 teams, and now you're asking me to say, well, what you got coming in? Now we're gonna start being top 25 team. And if y'all hadn't looked at the schedule, you got quite a few folks that's probably going to end the year in the top 25 and start the year with on the top 25 on your schedule next year. So you got to factor that in. If you're telling me, I get what you're saying, but we can't just look. The failure is to just look at Colorado. If I was just looking at Colorado, I'd probably be shaking golden, black and gold pom poms. But when you start looking at these other teams and what they got and what else is going on in the conference, do y'all realize silently TCU got the same records you do? If you realize that Baylor, after they dealt with their quarterback issues, that now what they have. You looked around the conference.
You just hating because Alabama got the same record as Colorado. How about that?
hey, and do you know that Utah has fixed their quarterback issue? Uh-oh.
I know.
Who did they bring in?
Bruh. Utah got, what's the kid's name? Oh, Lord.
Because I know Cam Rawson still has his, 8th or 9th year.
No, man, it's in that Coach Prime, what's the name video? I put it in that Coach Prime video. The one that deals with his the one about his salary versus the other Big 12 salaries. So Utah is fixing their quarterback issue. TCU is rising. Iowa State is bringing back most of their people. Arizona.
They got Connor Wegman. Connor Wegman. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Houston, not Utah. I'm sorry. I give you the places name.
No, the Utah Utes. Houston might be similar, but you got to remember that BYU was on a downward spiral, but Houston gave them a problem. I thought Houston should have won that game, but they lost it because they hated Colorado. That was just me.
They got a kid out of Oklahoma at quarterback.
What's his name? Say his name. I don't remember his name from the video.
Zerberg.
That's his first?
Zerberg. Brendan Zerberg is the transfer they brought in.
Okay, I don't know if that's the kid, but let me bring on Mr. James. Mr. James, thanks for leaving the chat and joining us today. How you doing, brother? I appreciate you calling in.
How y'all doing? How's everybody on the panel?
All is well. And the Texas Truth, I also put the email back up for you to come on. So whenever you're ready, just email. Go ahead, Mr. James, please.
So I just want to have a frank conversation, and it's no shade. I want to know how many people really know what Colorado has been doing and bringing in as far as the recruiting and the draft, and and the transfer portal. In the Big 12, because I think what y'all keep doing is y'all keep
17 total players. Colorado's brought in 17 total.
No, I'm talking about as far as their talent. Have y'all watched their film? Have y'all seen how they play? Any of those things? Because in the Big 12, Colorado was number 2 behind Texas Tech, who was spending a whole lot of money as far as the evaluation of what where they're graded at. So they're still bringing in talent. And I think y'all keep trying to compare Colorado to the SEC or the Big 10. No, Colorado just has to be the best in the Big 12, and then they automatically get to the playoffs. I don't think anybody thinks Colorado is going to win a national championship next year.
Only you're thinking like that. Coach Prime is trying to win it.
Hey,
because you're thinking like that, not Coach Prime.
Hey,
Hold on. He's a coach. Of course he's got to think that way. But realistically, we can look at the talent and say that Colorado doesn't have the money and can't hang with an Ohio State or a Notre Dame or a thing. No different than how Ashton Philly's team got destroyed.
So why do you get mad at us when we say that?
They have to be better than Arizona State and Utah and Kansas State. That's what they have to be better than. And if you put team against team, Colorado has the better talent.
So let me ask you this then.
Oh, hold on. What did you just say? No. Mr. James.
He said Colorado has the better talent. He said Colorado had the better talent.
Look, I'm telling you again, go evaluate the players and then don't look at the. You haven't done that yet, I'm telling you, Colorado has the better talent.
Hold on 1 second. I'm so glad you came on today. You said, say your last comment one more time for me.
I said that Colorado only has to beat the Big 12, so they only have to be better than Arizona State, Texas Tech, and thing. And to my knowledge, Scottaboo's going from Arizona State. That was the player. He's gone. The only team that is out bringing more talent than Colorado this year is Texas Tech. That's it.
Hold on. Let's put a hold on, Tim. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
We got Mr. James. This is. That's why I want the other guy to come on, because at least we can have a civil conversation. So listen, you said Scottaboo was the only person at Arizona State.
No, I didn't. Of course, he's not the only person. But what I'm saying to you, he was their Travis Hunter. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's the only, but he was the heart and the will. He's the reason. He's the heart and will of the team. He was. I'm not saying that's the only player.
On the offense.
Then they had one good wide receiver, and they had one good wide receiver, and the quarterback is
I can give them I can give you their offense. But guess why? Guess why Texas could not do what they needed to do? It was because of their defense. That don't make sense.
But let me ask you a question, Mr. James.
I'm not doubting that.
But Colorado can move the ball and score. Colorado can score, but people don't pay attention to the nuances, the little things that needs to happen. ASU is bringing back most of their defense. Their defense is what actually got them to where they are or where they were.
I got you. And I think if you pay attention to the moves that Colorado, I know Tim keeps talking about Texas State and all this other stuff you say. What I've realized is what they've done is Colorado can't afford the big boys that leave Ohio State or leave Texas, leave Alabama, blah, blah, blah. So what they have decided to do is go get players from the lower level who have experience, who have played a ton of downs and been productive in that area, and they're going to see if they can coach them up and they can play in this thing. If you pay attention, they have a whole different size team. There's nothing but 300 and 330-pound players that they have brought in because they have realized they are too small.
So let's add this question
I
there.
got a question.
Go ahead.
How about we just let it play out and let's see what happens?
But we can't do that. We're a sports talk show.
we can do. We can talk reasonable.
But are we not being reasonable asking questions?
No, it's not. It's nothing wrong with asking questions. But as much as y'all kill the quote unquote Colorado fan base and the fandom, and you always focus on that small little percentage of people who they going 11-0, they going 12-0, they going to win the national championship. When we know that's a loud minority, that's not true. Sometimes the conversations you're having, nobody thinks Colorado's winning the national championship next year. Nobody thinks that. Do you have the
James, can I
possibility
ask a
to
question?
win the
Yeah,
Big 12?
Can I ask a question?
Let Phil ask this question.
So I agree. They don't have to be better than insert any other school that's not in the Big 12. They have to win their conference, and they're in the playoffs. Once they're in the playoffs, anything can happen. I totally agree with you on that. The only time I compare them, me specifically, when I compare them to other schools, is when people make claims about what Colorado is going to be, and then I simply show what it takes to get there. There was a young man that used to come on the show before the season started. He said there was going to be 2 1,000-yard rushers for Colorado. Harry, what did? We looked it up, and I can't remember who it was that had the 2 1,000-yard rushers the previous year before. We looked at that school, and we looked at what Colorado did the previous year, and we said that's just not going to happen. That's not realistic, and it didn't happen. So comparisons for me, when I bring them up, are only based off of what somebody else says, and then I use that to show why I think you're foolish. Not you specifically, but whoever is bringing up a point that I don't agree with. My last point and my question to you is, does it matter if Colorado is going to be better than these teams if we've already seen them lose to teams they're better in? They're better than, like they did this year to Kansas. We believe they were better than BYU. They lost to BYU. So having the better team doesn't always matter. Are they going to be the better coach team?
Cool. So just a thing that kind of hits my point, Phil, when I say, I think you were talking about Himothy. I'm not 100% sure, but even as the statement of, hey, Colorado's going to have 2,000-yard running backs, or Colorado's going to have 3 wide receivers over 1,000 yards.
Same way too.
It was the tennis channel. It was the tennis channel that said it.
That is nonsense, and it doesn't make sense if we look at history and we know that this team is not a running team. When
Exactly.
that makes no sense.
That's the only reason why I presented the information, and I wasn't
That's
all
even
we
trying to
be
say it
saying
couldn't
here.
happen. I
But
just
that is
simply laid out what it
that
takes
is
to
a
happen.
few. I got you, but that is a few people who think that way. The majority of the fan base are not, or the majority of football fans know that that's not true. But to answer your
Man,
question,
we ain't got no beef with you, Mr. James. We
okay,
ain't
cool.
got no
Wait,
beef.
I just have one. I got you. I just got one statement. I made a statement in the chat a bunch of times. I said, I think what y'all are failing to realize, everybody praised Colorado for how they played, the play calling at the UCF game and how they ran the ball and et cetera, et cetera. I want y'all to understand that Sam Hart, which is the only legitimate tight end that can block and catch on the team, tore his ACL. And ever since he tore his ACL and couldn't play, the team played different. They didn't stop doing what they do, and they put multiple wide receivers out. And that's why it looked the way it looked, and they stopped running because they had no real legitimate tight end. This year, they got Zach Atkins, and they recruited 2 or 3 tight ends. The team will be different this year.
So hold on. So now I got a question.
You have to
So now I got a
understand
question.
when we said it's going to be different, we talk about how different and how it's going to actually affect their record. But we get the hate for just talking about it. It's what I'm trying to say to you.
But
anyway,
Harry, how much hate? How much hate? Maybe be honest. How much hate do you really get out of your audience? Is it 3%? Is it 5%? Like, is it 50% of people hating you? Is it 60%? Or is it like 5%, 3% people hating you?
DC, you can answer that when you say what you're about to say.
Well, you do got some folks that they like the, I won't say channels, but they seem to like the channels where you say everything. I'll give you an example. A content creator making a statement that when they rank next year 2026 quarterback, that Salter wasn't on there. So you had like Arch Manning, all that, but they said that Salter should be at the top of the list. Okay. And if you came on there and said there's no way that person should be at the top of the list, they'll call that hate and say we are only positivity over here, which is positivity. I get is fine, but that's not accurate because you can be positive about a lie. So my question now, I would say to you is that so let's go with that. And I get where you're coming from, to by all means, and brother, you welcome all day, every day, because we like that stuff. But I'm gonna ask you for what you seen coming in and what you know since you got the knowledge, because I have two questions. First, where does Colorado finish in the Big 12 next year?
I believe that I don't know I don't know as far as record. I don't know as far as place first, second, third, or fourth. I think they're going to win anywhere between 7 to 8 games.
Okay, so that won't
But
they
that's
won't they won't win it then, and that'll be less than this year, right?
Yeah.
I'm going off of a. I haven't seen the team play. I don't know who's going to be this start of this thing. I'm going off of if I look at what they brought in and look at their schedule. I'm going to go 7-8. There's a possibility, just like last year, we thought they weren't going to win we thought they were going to win 5 or 6 games, and they won 9. We have to see it play out. I'm going to go off of paper today and say they could win 7-8. There's a possibility if things fall the way they fall, and Pat does the offense the way I think he's going to do it, like UCF, they could win 9 or 10 games. But I don't know that yet, so I'm only going to go for what I see today.
Can we
Okay, I
also
can
acknowledge that
respect that.
the NFL experience that their offensive coordinator had couldn't work around the tight end injury that they had? Is that a concern for
They,
you that they couldn't find
what,
schemes to work in his absence?
what I'm going to say to you is he was the only traditional tight end. The other tight ends were former defensive ends or outside linebackers that converted to tight end. That's all I'm
My
going to say
my
to you.
question my question is specifically about the offensive coordinator and the changes in their schemes to counteract the fact that Sam Hart was hurt. Do you think he did
Well,
a good enough job with that?
yeah, I think he could have been creative, but I also think what happens is when something was working and then it doesn't work, I think you fall back into what you feel comfortable with, and I think Savell Smalls, he can't really catch that well. He's not a great blocker. He was the one that was doing the starting duty, and I think they said, and I think Shador said, I'd rather have another wide receiver out here than have him out here.
I got you. And again, I listen. That's some good information about Sam Hart and his injury. I think that's a valid point. But also, when we're talking about a team as a whole, we're not just talking about players, and we're not talking about players. We're talking about coaches as well. So they need to take some of the blame for not trying to figure out a way to work around it, because we saw them have success running the ball towards the end of the season. So it's not like they couldn't do it. I just think maybe there was a lack of like you said, a lack of creativity on the offense. So that has to change this year because they're not going to have 2 back there. Salter may be good, but he's not 2.
And
Right, because
my last
go ahead.
statement, I'm sorry, is
What,
I get that we think the sky is falling. They went 9-4. Did they show like how Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame lost yesterday, they showed they had grit and toughness and they fought back. Colorado didn't show that. I got that, but they went 9-4 in their second season as him the coach. I think that was a successful season. That's it.
Agreed.
Hey, let me ask you this question real quick, if you don't mind. Is Colorado your team, or are you a Coach Prime fan?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not a Colorado fan. I didn't go to Colorado. I went to North Carolina State. So that I bleed white and red. But I'm a Coach Prime fan. I like the fact that they let us get an insight into the team with the show. So I watch it. I like Shador. I love Travis. So they brought me in to love the thing. So yes, I'm a Coach Prime fan, but I'm also a football fan. So I'm going not just talk about Coach Prime. I'm going to talk about the football.
Okay, so I just want to let you know, like, there's people on this panel that had, even though they went 9-4, I had them at 10-2 because of what I saw and what they brought in. Even though I knew they weren't going to run the ball much, but I knew what they had in that wide receiver room, and I knew the type of quarterback that they have to possibly make it 10 games based off of the Big 12. Now, with that being said, TCU is not going to be a team that I feel Colorado going to walk in there and just manhandle.
Bruh,
TCU is going to
TCU,
be
you talking about TCU?
TCU is going to be good this season.
Bruh,
And
forget about TCU. Let
you
me put the
got
schedule back up.
you got Georgia Tech. That's going to be a hard win. That right there is going to that right there will determine, in my opinion, just my personal opinion, how well they do in the Big 12.
It's a
Even though
tone setter
Georgia-
game for sure.
It's a
setter
tone,
game for
yeah,
sure.
it's a tone setter game. And Arizona is not going to be as easy as it was last season because of what they bringing in their wide receiver core. They already got a quarterback.
Hey, Tim, don't even go down the line. Let me just
okay.
let me get this in right quick. All right, because remember the question you came in with, right? This is what Colorado is picking up. This is what's in so far. All right, we're probably like a couple of days off or whatever. We're bringing in Zarian, we're bringing in Zai, we're bringing in Mana, and we're bringing in a key. This is not enough. It's not. I don't know how people look at this. This is not enough. We're losing Khalil. We're losing Hank, Ethan, Tyler. Tyler never played. Yakari. Yakari was been gone, right? Yakari wasn't Peyton Kirkland.
And all of those players either didn't play or weren't good.
Well, I think Khalil played. Hank played. Hank was the starter. So I don't know what you mean. Hank was our starter until Cash Cleveland.
And then he lost his job to a walk-on small undersized center because he kept making mistakes. And Khalil Benson didn't start. He was part of the rotation, and he only came in run and play downs. He didn't play the passing downs all the time because he's not great at this. So they played him he didn't start. He was shuffling.
Okay.
Right. And he came from a
no, stay right there. Stay right there. Stay right there. Cash Cleveland is a small, undersized freshman who is going to be a small, undersized sophomore in the Big 12 championship this year. What we talking about?
I don't think Cash Cleveland is going to be the starting center. I think the other guy's going to be. I don't think Cash Cleveland is going to be a starting center. And there's a possibility. I don't know. The off season, he may gain 20 or 30 pounds. I don't know, but I don't think Cash Cleveland is going to be the starting center.
Okay,
I do.
They brought in somebody else. That's 330 pounds that plays center. I think he's going to be the starting center.
He came from Louisiana Tech, bro.
Cool. I understand that they can't afford the big players from the school. So what they are doing is getting players from the lower level who have outshined that level and been career starters and started 13, 12, 11 games. And they're going to see if they can coach them up to be players. And they have the body type. We will see what happens.
All right, Mr. James, look let me just put this way.
We can't complain. Hold on. We can't complain that the line was small and that they weren't good. And now I understand they're not at the talent level that you think they're supposed to be. But I remember last conversation when they said there are certain reasons why people are not able to get to the top level because of grades or because of they got looked at later. There's all kinds of reasons why they went to that school. Don't mean they can't play. And we complain that our players look small, and now we are getting the size tape.
Listen. Remember, when I started this whole thing, I never said these players cannot play. Coach Prime's whole scheme with no money, him having to scrap this team together, is to get good players with credible starting positions or at least a lot of reps and coach them up. My position has always been, if you got the players you got last year and you coached them up, you did everything you could do, but you just couldn't reach the pinnacle. We're back here again. And I don't even think these guys that we're getting that are on this list, I don't think these guys are the same quality of players that we had at Colorado. Some have gone. Right?
So Harry, besides the wide receivers of last year, Tell me the great players that we got in the transfer portal. Because when we first got BJ Green and we looked at his tape at Arizona State, we said, "Oh my God, he doesn't hustle. He can't stop the run, and all kinds of things." He
Who
had his
said
best.
that? On this channel, BJ Green was a superstar. I don't know what y'all talking. Maybe that was another channel, but we knew BJ Green was coming in. He was Coach Prime's like he was a little baby when Coach Prime coached him, and we knew that BJ Green was playing at Arizona. He was playing in the desert, and he did very well. So we knew that BJ Green was a super. He was going to be good. Khalil Benson, not Khalil Benson, but Nakahil Green as well, coming from Charlotte. We knew that he was a beast. And I did a video and I said Nakahil Green is going to be our leader. He turned out to be our leader. You can ask Wild Dog. I'm trying to tell you, the players that played well, before the season started, I said that the Black Bully, the Nigerian Nightmare, was going to be a star, and he ended up being a star. These guys that I'm evaluating here, these guys are not holding the same water that the players that we're losing. They had it's not adding up.
So Jaheim Otis can't be the Block bully or better.
I can't. You see what I'm saying? I don't want you to draw me into a definite. I can't say a definite, but there's something that you got to see and you got to feel. You're like, you know what, man, this guy's gonna be different.
Cool. Block bully is on the smaller side of a defensive tackle and doesn't have the body size, but he has the will and the fight. He is considered to be a dog. That's what he is. Somebody who shows up even though they are not the typical size of thing. Jaheim Otis is the player who has all the God-given talent as far as the abilities, as far as the height, the size, the speed, etc. But whatever reason, maybe mentally, it hasn't equated. If Sapp and D. Lewis got Block Bully and helped him and got him in this direction with his skill set, do we not think that they can do the same for Otis and Lightfoot and Coleman?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe what I'm saying is not translating. I'm saying we're getting good players. They got to be coached up.
That's what you see. You okay? You may be saying that, but your panel is not saying that they got good players, especially Tim.
So listen, where we're trying to go, I think this is where Tim and other people, like other guys, they say the same thing. Where we're trying to go with Colorado, where Colorado is trying to go to, is going to take more than replacing talent for talent. Is what I'm trying to at least convey here. We have to understand that Colorado wants to take the leap of faith. Colorado wants to go beyond what we are capable of achieving. In order for you to be able to do that, you got to bring in higher graded, higher quality players. And I'm waiting for us to get some small splash. Colorado is not doing that. We're replacing guys with good players that has to be coached up. How can we sustain this level of coaching up, always having to coach guys up? You feel me? I feel like if the message is not translating to people's ears, I'm trying to say Colorado's getting good players that Coach Prime, once again, has to coach up. He wants more money. He's asking Rick George, hey, man, give me more money. Rick George says resistance. It ain't possible.
Exactly. If you have to go, some of these schools that in the Big 12, they're not going out getting a lot of transfer portal players. They're getting little pieces to maybe fit in, or they may be getting depth. We're trying to go out to get starters, a lot more starters. So having to coach them up and have the potential to possibly win a Big 12 championship, if that's where y'all are at, I'm not at that stage. I'm looking at playoffs and beyond. You know what I mean?
That's what I thought the conversation was, but I feel like most people are just thinking oh, no, Colorado's getting good players. I'm way beyond that.
Yeah,
Like,
I am
cool.
too.
I'm way beyond that about good players. I ain't saying Colorado's getting a bunch of suck players. If I say that, I'm saying that for sport. I'm saying that as banter. So
Got you. So we doing a TV. So we doing a YouTube show. Got to have a little to it. Got it.
no, not
What
just a YouTube show. It's what people say. Like Farmbaum called Coach Prime a celebrity. It's sort of like just you're saying like, come on now. The players we're getting are good players, but they're not splash players. These guys are not like, oh, we're going out and we about to do it. Coach Prime is about to take this thing to that next level. But everybody, there's a lot of people in this fan base that thinks that that's what's happening. And I'm trying to say, no, that is not what's happening.
They're
I got
not
you.
dogs.
What
What I
They're not
what I
dogs.
would say. What I would say.
Javion Coleman, Gravy, Javale, whatever his name is, and then Jaheim.
Lightfoot. It's Lightfoot.
Is what?
His last name is Lightfoot.
Well, Lightfoot, yeah. Javale G Lightfoot, yeah. So Fresno State, Texas State, and Alabama transfer, right?
Yeah.
So these guys, I don't know if you've heard what's his name? What's Panda? Panda's like, hey, give us your hurt, your broken, your whatever. Like I'm trying to tell you, like Coach Brown,
Okay, cool. But I want you to realize that they added those three for the beef in the middle. They still have Taj McCoy, who had 4 sacks last year. They still have Sam Oklahoma, who had whatever amount of sacks he had. They still have McNeil. The just of their defense, except the main is still there. It's still there. Yes,
and
they
it
don't
wasn't
have
good enough.
They don't have They don't have the money, and we have to be honest with ourselves that they
But
don't
then
have the
let
money.
the
So the
tell that
coaches
to the
have
fan
to
base.
do
Tell
the
that
coaches
to the
have
fan
to
base.
do what they have to do.
So okay, that is the conversation that we are having.
Every year the New York Giants come out, a New York Giant fan is gonna be like, we're going to the playoffs to go into the Super Bowl, even though we know the team is garbage, because that's called fandom.
That is not a fact. First of all, there's no New York Giant fan that will ever say we're going to the Super Bowl.
Kyrie, you can't speak for every New York fan. I am born and raised from New York. You
And
can't
those
say
are the
that.
delusional ones that I've been talking about. How in the world are you telling me? When was the last time we made the playoff with Dabo, whatever his name is? Once.
That's my point. You're talking about the delusional Colorado fans. Why are we talking about them when it's a small
You made a
amount?
statement. What was your statement? You said every year the New York fans say we're going to the playoffs or we're going to the Super Bowl. Where? What part of New York you at that you've heard a group of people say that?
Are we going to say that if I was to go and be the man on the street and I was going to ask New York
Let's
Johnson,
go to Harlem. Let's go to Brooklyn. Let's go to Queens.
I couldn't find anybody to tell me that. I couldn't find anybody to tell me that. Yes, I could. Just like I could go and find somebody to tell me they think the Mets are going to win the championship. That's called fans.
I'm trying to tell you. We can go to Harlem. We go to let's go to Staten Island. Shaolin. Let's go to Staten Island and ask any Giants fans and tell me what they're leaning on to say we're going to the Super Bowl this year. Anything. I'm putting money on this.
They're gonna say because I'm a fan and I believe it and I hope, and that's it. Hope and a prayer.
Come on. Never happened.
Are you sold on the players, the caliber of players that they brought in for the offensive line, for the O-line?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I can't say I'm sold on. I like the young boys, the high school kids. Like I like Chauncey Goodwin, and I like Carday Smith.
The ones from IMG.
Carday Smith's not from IMG. I'm not. They got three or four high school recruits that are offensive line that are in the 290, 300 pound range.
Oh, Carday Smith from California.
What I'm saying to you is I think they're getting better. I think he has realized if you pay attention how he focused on recruiting, anything.
Mm-hmm.
He always gonna get wide receivers. He always gonna get cornerbacks. If you look at the wide receivers, he got the max player of the year. And homeboy, even if he's a 3-star, we know he's better than a 3-star.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to, I believe he's going to translate in college. He got Franklin. I think he's going to transfer. He got Adrian Wilson. I think he's going to transfer. I think the wide always stood. I think that's fine. The running backs are the running backs. I think we got better tight ends. We have to see how the offensive line comes together. But I think the defense is going to still be as good as it was last year. I really do.
And how good was that?
I mean, I said.
They led the Big 12 in sacks, and they were 9-4. I think they were good enough.
And it couldn't be Kansas or Kansas State.
Correct, and that's why they got the big boys, because they couldn't stop the run up the middle, and that's why they got 300+ pound players to see if they can stop it.
To see if.
That's what we can do right now. That's what we can do right now. Is see if until it came to field. I think those linebackers. I think the kid who went to I think it's UTSA. Or USTA. I can't remember the way. I think he's going to be good if you look at his numbers.
Your defensive line. Okay, we got Dayon Hayes. He's committed to Texas A&M. He's left. We got Rayon Buell.
He didn't. Dayon Hayes got hurt and didn't play the most of the season. Ryan Buell didn't play at all. The only person that played it is Black Bully and BJ Green. That's it.
So the only player according to Coach Prom's favorite reporter, Jack Carlo, the only person that we're gonna hang our hat on is gonna be Jaheim Oatis.
Because they're gonna say because he came from Alabama, and that's all you can say is because you're gonna say he came from Alabama, and that must mean he could play. That's what they're doing.
I don't think this guy's lazy. I don't think he's lazy, because I know there's a lot of lazy writers, and I call them out all the time. But I don't think Jack Carlo is lazy. I think he does.
If you look at Lightfoot and Coleman's stats, if you look in their stats, they played more and did more than Jaheim Oatis did in their college career.
Well, I think then your argument would be plausible. So if you're saying that, okay, people just lazy and they're going to pick the big programs, I don't know if it's based on production, but also it's based on production at where your competition is coming from. Your competition has to be valuable. Everybody would say, oh, yes, Genty is the best, but he won't play nobody. By the time he got to play somebody, it was like, excuse me. You ain't gonna run the ball on us.
I think that guy's gonna be very, very good in the NFL, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, but okay, you do agree that competition matters. I think when people are ranking these people or they're giving them grades, they're giving them grade to say, okay, you played against a lot of good competition, so your translation when you go to the Big 12, which is not revered, you should be able to produce in the Big 12 because the competition in the Big 12 ain't the same.
So I would say I don't know if that's 100% true, because I think Phil and DC said earlier they were talking about the national championship, and they was trying to figure out how Will Howard got ran off from Kansas State for Avery Johnson, and Kansas State chose that Avery Johnson was going to be a better quarterback than Will Howard for whatever reason, and look what Will Howard just did for Ohio State. So I think sometimes you can be in a lower level, but you get on a better team, you get with better coaches, you get with better talent around you, and sometimes you can show out.
So do you think where he came from, Coach Prime, is better?
I don't have no problem saying what I feel. I think Coach Prime is a CEO. I don't know if he's a coach, and he hasn't proven it to me by some of the mistakes.
Go hard. Do you have protection? You say you're from New York, right? So then I can at least say you can handle yourself. But you don't want to say that around here, okay?
We can only speak the facts, and what he did his first year, he hasn't learned on his second year, because some of those same things, too many players on defense on the field. The team is still sometimes undisciplined when they don't need to be undisciplined. He hasn't got to the he didn't go to the Pat Sherman and say, hey, stop putting 3 wide receivers in. We're gonna run the damn ball. He hasn't done that yet. Maybe he will learn that. I'm going off his history. We all got mad about some of the coaches he had. He's got better coaches in now. Flea is not the running back coach no more. Homeboy, the outside linebacker, he's going to Mississippi State, and the guy from Michigan that was helping Livingston draw up the plays is now that guy. The team, they're getting better, so maybe he is learning. We will see.
I got some individual videos to do to The same thing I do every single season, where I break down every room and I bring you information. I'm doing that, but again, I need to see more. I need to see more for the trenches. You know what? At this point, I want to see Colorado become a cohesive team, not necessarily trying to get superstars, because we obviously saw that if you got BYU, where their coach was on the hot seat, you got Baylor, their coach was on the hot seat preseason. They had to win out, and in the fashion that they ended their season was crazy. Nobody predicted that. I think the nuances that we can glean from them is something about their team they bought into. I don't know that Coach Prime's team, they always buy in. I feel like these guys, they get the idea, but they don't really buy in.
So if we go off of the first meeting that they had, what is the key thing that Coach Prime said? He said we had some great individual players last year.
Another well-off.
I'm not in the meeting, so I can only go or gleam off that. He said we had some great
arts videos, man. I don't care about those. Those are performing arts videos. I don't reference well-off.
Cool. Then what Tim said also mattered. Well, see, this is the problem. You don't go off for well-off, and nobody tells you to go well-off, but you're not watching tape. So that's the difference. But I get off of that. Tim said the key thing.
We're not watching tape. You don't see us.
I listen to the conversation, and the conversation tells me you're not watching tape. But let me go.
You mean like go pause their game and go watch like their 2021 game?
Because no, what I'm saying to you is you can't tell me if a person is talented or good enough if you're not watching the all-22 and evaluating the player. We can't do that. But I put off that. Tim said something before. He said all the running backs.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tim said all the running backs that should have left didn't leave, and that gives him an inkling that they are buying into what Coach Prime is saying. And I'm going to go off of that and say maybe there's some buying and they see that the thing is going to be different this year.
But no, listen, these things that we see on well-off and all that, the cameras are on. When the cameras are on, everybody's performing. Okay, I'm starting to get irritated with the whole speeches and the mini sermons. It's starting to irritate me. That's just me personally, because anybody can sound like whatever when the cameras are on. Those. So we can't listen. How many times have we?
All the coaches are doing it.
Well, hold on. How many times have we heard? Oh, we about to run the ball now, and then it didn't happen. Right? How many times we've heard that so many times? We're gonna run the ball. We're gonna run the ball. Even well-off themselves put out a video that says run the ball.
But if they can't run, they're not going to run. How many yards did they average last year? What is it, like 2 point something? If they can't run the ball,
if you can't run, that's fine. I can concede. If you can run, right? If you cannot run the ball, that's fine. But then let's not pretend like you don't run at all because you can't run. Because when they did run, they were successful. So
that was when they had a tight end. Ever since then, they weren't successful.
What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm talking about this year. I'm not talking about Mikey.
No, last year after the UCF game, they couldn't run that on anymore. They didn't run anymore after that.
Are you talking about Mikey, or are you talking about the defense?
I'm talking about this year after the UCF game, this South Florida game, South Florida game, they didn't run anymore after that because they couldn't run anymore because they lost their tight end. What
do you mean?
If you go through,
it wasn't because we lost our tight end. That's why we couldn't run, because Colorado attempted to run the ball, and we have lives.
It wasn't successful. The last successful running attack was UCF. That was it. That's the last successful running thing where we got like 90-something yards. That was the last time.
No, it wasn't. No, it's not.
Okay, then go look at some game thing and tell me when they go with.
I have lives where I'm calling it out on like live, and I'm saying, look, it's working. I've done it live for all the games. I've done all the games live, and I say, look, they ran the ball and it worked. Look.
So they got 5. So they got 5 yards, or 10 yards, or 15 yards.
Shador running around for his life. That's part of the run. If you're looking at stats,
But that's not
Obviously
running.
it's not going to work.
That's not running the ball. That's him being.
But that's part of the statistical information. But I'm talking about if you actually watch the game where Colorado decided to run the ball after they ran the ball after UCF and they were successful. I'm saying Colorado had games where they ran the ball, they were successful. Something happened, transpired where they decided we ain't going to run the ball no more, and that was just it. But Colorado had opportunities to run the ball even when they lost their tight end. They had other tight ends that weren't catching the ball, but I don't think that was the thing that stopped them from running the ball. No, their schemes were terrible. They weren't scheming at all.
So Harry, do you remember the UCF game?
Yes, I remember the UCF game.
Do you remember some of the running plays and the schemes? And we were like, "Oh, swat! They've never done that before. Where did that come from?" And then after that game, we said, "Where was that?"
Yeah, we called that out live. But Colorado attempted to run the ball after UCF, and we had success running the ball. But again, if you go away from the run and you do not decide, if you decide you're not going to run anymore, then there's not much you can do because Colorado just decided, okay, we're not going to run the ball no more. But prior to that, it was like the same thing. When we had UCF was not the only game that we attempted to run. So if you listen to your logic and what you just said, we had the same tight end up to the UCF game. So Colorado also decided not to run the ball prior to that game. If you look at the schedule, this is not the one. Let me put up the schedule. Where is this Colorado schedule here? Let me use the one that what's the name said. UCF was what, game number 1, 2, 3, 4. Game number 5. Smack in the middle of the season. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Colorado attempted to run the ball, but was not successful at many times, and they just decided to throw the ball. NDSU, Nebraska, CSU, and Baylor. Colorado tried to run with Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Kansas, Oklahoma State. We attempted to run the ball at those games. So Colorado just doesn't run the ball. It's like one day we're saying, oh, great, Colorado tried to run the ball. And it actually worked. But then after that, they decided to just throw the ball. So I don't think you can pinpoint, oh, that was because we had a tight end, and that's the reason why we didn't run the ball. So now we're taking the O-line out of the equation and say, well, yeah, we ran the ball when we had a tight end. Now we're saying it's not the O-line no more. When everybody is saying it's the O-line, now it's the tight end. I don't know what y'all want. What is it going to be? Is it the O-line or is it the tight end? Tight end.
I hear you. I'm trying to go over each game to see how many times they ran. I think running the ball is when you run 15 to 27 times a game. I don't think attempting to run the ball is when you run and one play you got 5 yards or 10 yards and then you stop and kept passing. I think running the ball is when you make the attempts, and if your attempts ain't over 15 to 20 times, then you're not really running the ball.
There were games where Colorado never attempted, like just didn't want to. They refused to attempt. I'm trying to tell you, like I have live, and I'm calling this stuff out live. Where
I got you, and I'm telling you that is Pat Shermer showed you in that UCF game what his bag was as an offensive coach, and for whatever reason, I don't know why. I think it's the tight end loss. He decided to go back to the 3-4 wide receivers. That could be a Shedeur thing. I don't know.
There's a lot of different narratives that we can draw as to why Colorado didn't want to run the ball. And again, I'm still baffled. I'm still trying to find reasons. And I want to give Coach Prime the benefit of the doubt, but his words is like, if you want to hold his words like on the well off and everything he's saying, he told reporters that at the end of the 2023 season, we couldn't run because we didn't have a line. He went out, he got a line. He said, we got a line now, so we're going to run. And then he didn't run again. So I'm like, okay. So you say you're going to run now, but you still didn't run. So then what was it? You feel me? So it's a little hard to really put things into context because something's stopping him he can't say.
Cool, but Harry, we just said, and y'all just said that, and you have been saying, I need some big white boys, some big uglies. I need some Hawaiian folks in the line, and we have
I don't
just
want
said,
to see no black guys on the line.
and we just said. So what we've been saying is that they haven't been getting the best talent of offensive linemen to come in. Besides Jordan Seaton, that's about it. They haven't been getting the best
That's
talent.
what we're saying. We've been saying that, but so then when you go to the comments, it's like, oh, we don't know what we're talking about. Okay, so how can you concede to something we've been saying? The antidote to the situations, we're saying everything. We're saying what you're conceding to what we're saying. But then it's bad for us to say definitively that if they don't change X, Y, and Z, the antidote, then you're going to receive the same results. It's like,
well, I think sometimes I think sometimes maybe you be thinking people are saying it's not always you, Harry. Sometimes it's the panelists, and sometimes they speak in absolutes. And what I'm saying is that the problem last year with Colorado on both sides of the line is they were small. They were athletic, but that's why they were number one sack on defense, but they were small. And this year, from recruiting and from the transfer portal, it looks like they went for size. Did they get size from Power 5 schools? No, they got size from Power 4 and below. And those players have played for 2 to 3 years or 4 years and played 13, 11 games, 12, 11 games a year and have experience and have successfully played in the conference that they're in. And they are saying, hey, we're going to get these people with experience. And then what we're going to do is see if we can coach them up to the Power 5 level, because you know what? They have the size that we don't have. And we're going to see if we can coach the talent up and get them to where they can participate. No different than Cash Cleveland doesn't have the size, but they coached him up to be a comparable center that was able to play for the rest of the year.
That formula can only get you so far. I think that's been my argument. That formula is going to you're getting good players.
I got you. I don't think they're going to win a national championship this year. I think if he
I think you're saying that. I think you're saying that in an idea of. I think you're going way too far with it. When you saying, oh, they're not going to win a national championship, I feel like that's a blanket. That's not. I'm being very specific. You're not getting to the Big 12 championship. That's cool. I'm not blanking and saying, oh, they're not going to win a national championship. No, I'm bringing it home.
I got you. I don't think college football is like the NFL, where every team thinks their success is either if they win a division or a national or the championship. I think if you have been a Dodgem program for whatever amount of years, and now you have got some relevance, and now you are trying to build. If you go from a 9 and they won 4 games the first season, any amount of wins over 4 was a success. They won 9 this year, and they're losing their quarterback and the best wide receiver and a bunch of other wide receivers. If they win 7 to 8 games, I still think it's a successful season.
I don't think if you go from a 9 to 4 and then you'll win 7 to 8 games, and you're calling that success.
You just said they lost a bunch of talent. Where do you think they're going to go win 10, 11 games if they just lost a bunch of talent and they lost?
Put me on the defense. You can't steal my argument and then put me on the defense of my own argument. I can't. That's not how this works.
I'm just saying there's nuance to the conversation. It's not black and white. That's all.
But you're taking my argument and you're trying to put me on the defense. Let me ask you a question. Arizona was a blowout game. Why we didn't run the ball?
Because Arizona, I'm gonna tell you why they didn't run the ball. Because Arizona couldn't keep up with the wide receivers, and that was their best opportunity to beat them, because they couldn't stick. None of their cornerbacks could stick any of the wide receivers, even in their big time cornerback. I think he was hurt and he wasn't really playing that well. None of their cornerbacks could stick. So they again, if they don't have to run, if they can pass, they're gonna always want to pass.
Don't. That's an excuse, but fine. Okay, OSU was a blowout game. Why we didn't run the ball? blowout game. Like we totally dominated. We could have ran opportunities to run the ball.
Cool. And this is why I said to you when you asked me what do I think about Coach Prime, and I said to you, and you asked me what do I think of him as a coach, and I said I don't know about his X's and O's, because if you watch the game yesterday, what did Ohio State do? They ran the ball.
Ran the heck out of that ball
until the last opportunity where they said, "Hey, we've been running the ball so much. I know they're going to try to bring everybody to the box, and nobody on that team could stop Jeremiah Smith." Correct. So yes. So again, there are some deficiencies with Coach Prime. I'm not denying that. Hopefully, he's learning.
All right,
and that's all I can hope on.
I'll take you at that, and let's get up out of here because I gotta go. The show was over at 1:00. Let me get your final thoughts. We'll have to reconvene. Come back here when as the team go, because now college football has now finally said, okay, we're done. So now we got to focus on the portal and what's going on with recruiting. So our subsequent conversations are going to be about recruiting and how Colorado's whatever their path is to that Big 12 championship. We're going to have to dissect it this whole offseason. But let me get your final thoughts so we can get up out of here. And I do appreciate you, man, coming on and try your best to
I love the show.
Undefendable.
I love the show. I'm always here. Sometimes I'm just in the chat, but I'm always here. I think the team is going to look a lot different. I think how we've watched Notre Dame and Ohio State with these dual threat quarterbacks, I think our offense will look similar to that. I'm not saying our offensive line is going to hold up. I don't know. I think what we've been crying about running the ball and things, I think we will see a big difference this year. I don't know what that is going to equate to as far as wins and losses, but I think it will look more like a regular football team than on 7 passing drill.
I appreciate you coming on, man. And VI Born and Brad says somebody's behind the scenes coaching up Harry with some of these questions. Ain't nobody coaching me.
There you go.
Ain't nobody coaching me up. I've been asked these questions all season long. Go to my channel and watch the video with my wife playing the running back, and I'm asking questions about why we're not running the ball and how easy it could be if we ran the ball. Oh man, y'all some funny cats. I appreciate it though. Hey man, I appreciate y'all. Wild Dog, the Texas Truth, VI Born, DMV. Like, is that VI or where's the VI? Anyways, thank you for all my panel members that came on today. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for making the show what it is. I do appreciate. I love the conversations. We got to keep challenging each other. Okay, so let's keep doing that. I'll see you on the next video. Get it? See you on the next video. Okay, I'm out of here.